I'm here today at Queen's College, Hong Kong, a site of a polling station in yesterday's 2019 local and district council elections. The elections ended in a landslide defeat for government-associated parties and an overwhelming victory for the pro-democratic coalition, following a record surge in voter turnout, largely owed to the political crisis which has swept the city since the summer. With local tensions running high, it is inevitable that many voters were about to be mobilised like never before, meaning the status quo was never expected to remain intact. Certainly, it is a surprise for the local authorities. But the bigger question is, what happens now in Hong Kong? How do we move forwards together? Although district councils have wield very little power and cannot fundamentally alter the status quo in the city, nevertheless, the way forward has to be pragmatic and balanced. Many residents have made their voice heard and voted with their feet, and now it is important to accordingly engage in dialogue and compromise. What is clear is that the city's autonomy matters to them. While some of their fears have been dramatically overstated and sometimes abused politically by some, it is important that these sentiments are no longer ignored. However, if the rift between the authorities and residents is to be properly handled and reconnected, this must be a two-way and constructive process. Citizenship is not just about making demands, but also about one's broader obligations to society. Thus, whilst their voices can be heard, the public themselves must be prepared to come to reason on certain matters if this process is to work. First of all, if things are to move forwards in the city, locals must take a zero-tolerance approach to radical and violent protesters. Peaceful means must now prevail. The public has made their voice heard through the pro-democracy camp, but if their voices are to be taken earnestly, they must end any sympathy or tolerance they have for the pursuit of violent and destructive activities. Extreme disorder is destroying the local economy and is plunging the city into recession. In the long run, the effects of such a continual decline will begin to bite hard. While some have persistently blamed the police, as a part of successful dialogue, the public must be willing to first comprehend that local authorities cannot be expected to concede on legitimate matters of law enforcement and holding those who have pursued violence and criminal activities to account. This is not political oppression. Secondly, if dialogue and progress is to be made on local concerns relating to autonomy in the city, the general public must become more accepting of Hong Kong's status as a part of China in a pragmatic way. Nobody is looking to take away the city's autonomy or to abolish the special administrative region system. However, more radical subsets of protesters and certain individuals have sought to utilize this crisis in order to pursue an agenda of permanently separating the country from China, drawing in the role of foreign powers such as the United States and challenging the city's autonomy and territorial integrity. This is not acceptable to China, and in turn it makes it more difficult for the authorities to compromise. Again, these radical fringes have to be disowned. The principle of one country must be upheld as an unconditional line for dialogue. If these basic principles can be met, political space can surely be established in order to rectify the concerns of locals, establish dialogue, and create trust and order again in Hong Kong. As much as people are aggrieved, this cannot simply be a shopping list of demands on a threat of ransom through more violence and disruption by certain groups. Both sides here now have a civic responsibility to engage in necessary introspection, acknowledge their mistakes, and aim to clear up mutual misunderstandings that have polarized the city in recent months. Thus, the way forward for Hong Kong must as a whole closely follow the guiding principles of stability, order, dialogue, and compromise. Many people have now made their voices heard. However, these requests must come with a renewed commitment to good-willed and law-abiding citizenship.